Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Vijendra Singh Tawar, Associate Professor in English. Presently, I have been posted at Government College Gudha in the Jhansi district. In the series of video lectures which I am preparing, this lecture is meant for the students of English literature, whether they are in BA part first, second, third, or MA. This is very useful. These are the elementary things which every student of English literature should know. And the topic of this lecture is meter. What is meter in English literature? Before we give you the technical definition of the meter. Let us come step by steps to understand the basics before we reach and understand the real definition of meter. Now see, I have written certain words on the PPT. See these words and pronounce them. See the word is see, go, no, now, book. If we look at them and pronounce them, we will say that we can pronounce them without any break in our speech sound, that is in one effort or in one part. That is, we can say these words can be pronounced in one effort. Now look at the second category of words. Table, student, people. If we make an analysis in our mind, we find that these words are pronounced with one break, that is in two parts or in two efforts. Similarly, advocate, three parts. Utility, four parts. Examination, examination, in five parts. If we try to understand what I have stated so far from the ongoing talk which we had, we can say it means certain words can be pronounced in one effort, some in two efforts, some in three efforts, some in four efforts, some in five efforts, and some there are many words which may be larger than these, they can be pronounced in more than five efforts. Now these parts which is pronounced in one effort, generally speaking, it is not a technical definition, just to keep in mind, is called syllable. That is the part of a word which is pronounced in one effort is called a syllable. Let us make it more clear by a table. There are certain words and the parts and the how many number of syllables they consist of. We will come to the third part. Dog, one effort, one syllable. Green, one syllable. White, one syllable. Quiet, two syllables. Orange, two syllable. Table, two syllable. Expensive, three syllables. Interesting, three syllables, or interesting, four syllables. Means it depends upon how we pronounce that word. Unrealistic, four syllable. Unexceptional, unexceptional, five syllables. Means same case that there are certain words which may consist of one syllable. There are certain words which consist of two syllables, three syllables, four syllables, or five, six, etc., etc. Now let us try to give you a technical definition of the word syllable. A syllable is a single unbroken sound of a spoken or written word. Syllables usually contain a vowel and accompanying consonants. That is, there can be consonant left side or pre or post, we can say, a position. Sometimes syllables are referred to as the beats of spoken language. In order to understand or just to have a basic idea or general idea, the number of times you hear a vowel A, E, I, O, U in a word is equal to the number of syllables a word has. A good way to identify syllables is to think about whether you need to change your mouth shape to say the next bit of the word or the new syllables. If we changes our mouth, it means our mouth shapes, it means we have another syllable in that word. For example, cat, it has one syllable. Water has two syllables. Water. Computer, computer, three syllables. Category, category, that is four syllables. Now you may think that I have taken the topic of meter and I am talking of syllables. I am talking of syllables just because you must have a clear idea of what a syllable is. If you have got this, then the next. Now, if we make a mathematical analysis, we find generally, though it will change later on when we will go, sometimes one syllable, sometimes three syllable will make 1 foot or 1 meter. That we will discuss when we will discuss details analysis at a PG level or etc. For your level, that is at the beginning level, we must keep in mind that 2 syllables is equal to 1 foot. 2 syllable is equal to 1 foot, or sometimes it is also called 1 meter. Or technically we can say monometer or 1 meter. Now 4 syllables, 2 means 1, 4 means 2 feet or 2 meter, and technically it is called diameter. 6 syllables, 3 feet, 3 meter or trimeter. 8 syllables, 4 feet or 4 meter, and in technically it is called tetrameter. 10 syllables is equal to 5 feet or 5 meter, technically it is called pentameter. These tetrameter and pentameter are often used by poets while composing their poems. 12 syllables, 6 feet or 6 meter, and it is technically hexameter. Then there is a heptameter, octameter, it will continue. But generally, and in maximum, the meter which is used by the poet is tetrameter or pentameter. Now see the examples. When here, these are 2 syllables, 1 foot. The spring, 1 foot, we see. So there are 3 feet, or we can say 3 meter, and technically it is an example of trimeter. Similarly, fresh, green, upon, 2 syllables. The tree, example of trimeter. Similarly, the sun goes down and with him takes, it is an example of tetrameter. The coarseness of my poor attire, it is an also example of tetrameter. Shall I compare the two? A summer's day, example of pentameter. Thou art more lovely and more temperate, example of pentameter. Nor a nigh o the word like court sword spade, example of hexameter. So rich and fair a well in for turning to red, example of hexameter. The idea is there are certain lines which may be placed in the category of trimeter, tetrameter, pentameter, or hexameter. Or in a simple words, we can say when we have in front of us the poems written by a poet, we can calculate, we can measure the length of that line of the poem, whether it is in the category of trimeter, tetrameter, pentameter, hexameter, or heptameter. Now, after having this much discussion, let us come to the technical definition of meter. So we can say meter is a literary device that works as a structural element in poetry. Essentially, meter is the basic rhythmic structure of a line within a poem or poetic work. Meter functions as a means of imposing a specific number of syllables and emphasis when it comes to a line of poetry that adds to its musicality. It consists of the number of syllables and the pattern of emphasis on those syllables. When I say emphasis, is stress, we will discuss it later on. Meter is found in many famous examples of poetic works, including poems, drama, and lyrics. The idea is there are poets, dramatists who have used meter while composing their works. But there are certain poets who do not follow any meter. But generally, or traditionally, poets used to follow a particular meter while composing their poems. So here are some famous examples of meter. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? This is a line consists of pentameter, or this poem consists of pentameter. I wandered lonely as a cloud. Tetrameter is an example. Fair is foul and foul is fair. This is a famous quote from Macbeth by William Shakespeare play. It is an example of tetrameter. Stop all the clocks. And the second line, cut off the telephone. It is diameter. The itsy bitsy spider. It is an example of trimeter. So what I want to say that if you have a poem in front of you, you can tell that this line consists of this variety of meter, that is trimeter, tetrameter, pentameter, hexameter, etc., etc. Thank you very much.